Welcome back to another episode of A Candor Gander with your host, Sergeant Filthy McNasty. We weren't sure, by me, I mean me and the voices in my head, whether or not we were going to have an episode today. But lo and behold, I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's put something together. Let's have a good time. Let's relax. Let's chill. As always, feel free to grab a drink, take a seat, and welcome to the flock. We'll go ahead and introduce our esteemed panelists here shortly. But before then, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. We have with us our esteemed panelists, Mr. Mellow Green Giant, Raph Zalis, and Sir Worm. Thank you all very much for joining me on this very short notice. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure we were gonna do something, but we wound up doing it. I do have something prepared. Let's see if it works. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then I'll point fingers at someone. Let's see. I so 11 Labs. You may have heard KP talk about 11 Labs. It's an AI sort of voice generating tool. And I think I whipped up a something. Let's see if you guys can hear it.
Coming to you from somewhere in San Diego. This is a Candor Gander with your host, Sergeant Filthy
I love it.
You got a front man now.
Famous.
I do have a front
Wow.
man, and I didn't charge him anything. 11 Labs. If you guys are out there and you guys need AI voices, it gives you like 10,000 words for free. I don't need more than 10,000, so you guys can play with it. Super fun, super free. That's what makes it extra fun. Um, let's start. Let's do some roundabout here. We're a small crowd, or a smaller crowd than some of my usual big crowds. Mellow Green Giant, we haven't seen you in a minute. How are you doing, bud? How's it going?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm doing great. I was kind of surprised at like how much I have been on your show when I was watching your recap. I didn't remember half of that, but yeah, still doing good, still grinding away and tinkering around with the tools I made, and yeah, having a good time.
Sweet. Raph, how's it going, man? Before you I guess you can introduce yourself first, but I want to hear you're building some awesome shit, man. And for those of you who aren't listening, who aren't watching, who are living on the rocks, what are you working on these days? Because you've got so much, man.
I gotta give all the shout out to Neindorf and the amazing skillet on our team for ADFK. I'm just the handsome face. They're the smart dudes. So
An eloquent voice.
That's what I bring to the table. Not Melch. Beyond that, so I've been just kind of grinding away in the lab, trying to build elite ability heroes, and just trying to have fun as much as I
How,
can.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, you guys have this really awesome too. I re-signed up. Frankly, I sign up and I unsign up for stuff not by intention. It's just I forget to renew sometimes. You guys need to have an auto renew feature on your ADFK site, but you guys have this awesome feature now where you can go on there and sort of compare your heroes across the sort of the book of heroes out there and identify whether or not your stud is an actual stud or a spud.
Or a dud.
We're really trying to lean into statistics on the heroes, and there's like Transformers, a lot more than meets the eye. It's not all about the color of the hero at levels 1 through 20. There's a lot of heroes out there that are alphas in their own right, and we want to bring a feature to the community that eventually puts a badge on the heroes to help people kind of brag about what they've built in game. When you have awesome tools that allow you to build your heroes, like Zealous has created, and like Mellow Green Giant has created to track your level ups. You want to be able to have something that allows you to kind of brag to your friends or your guild mates, or show guild versus guild who has the most heroes with the best stats. So we're looking forward to bringing that. And obviously just the stats of a hero aren't everything. It obviously the pilot makes a pretty big deal. But we're not there yet. We don't have PvP yet. So those other features that we're building up will have to wait.
No, absolutely. And I most recently saw you on with Mr. Sir Worm, who's repping. Is that a Mosh shirt? Is that right? Are you repping Mosh today?
I am repping Mosh today, especially when I'm doing summoning. I need the Mosh odds ever in my favor, of course. And
lean in.
Yeah. Mosh odds. So, I saw the shirt. I resonate and I identify with Mosh as far as, well, we're like pet brethren. So I felt like I had to rep his shirt.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't. I am not pet brethren with Mosh, but I have full respect for the gentleman who is as reckless with his money as I wish I could be. And I say that in the sense of he just tosses. Pets and heroes, man. Those are moolah, whether you like it or not. And he just tosses them like there's no tomorrow. Like it's going out of season. And full respect, because you get into monster heroes coming out of there. Zealous, you were most recently on with KP. How's it going, man? Haven't seen you in a minute.
Good. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm always jealous watching your streams. You guys look like you're having so much fun.
Hey, we're always having fun here. We know nothing but having fun.
Especially in PST time.
Oh yeah. Hey, it's still Friday here. At least for the time.
So happy to be here, guys.
No, thank you, Zealous. Very much appreciated. Awesome tool. If you guys don't know about it, you should. Sure, you've heard about it. DFK Helper. There are other bots out there, but it may be the one for you. Anyhow, Zealous, thank you very much for joining me. Well, that was a statement I used to be able to say. There's a lot of private bots out there. I'll say that much. Public bots, I think you're one of the last standing, if I'm not mistaken. So
the last.
Kudos to you.
And the only one that does anything other than just like questing and dueling, right?
That I know of. Well, that's up for debate. I'm sure there's someone out there who knows more than I. I'm a talking head here. And speaking of talking heads, my co-talking head for Coffee with Kupo, I tossed this to Kupo the last minute, and he was gracious enough to jump on with me. I am pleasantly surprised to see my friend here, Kupo himself. How are you doing, bud?
Hey there, Sarge. Lucky for you, today was a lazy day for me, so you caught me at a good time.
Yeah, again, I'll beat this dead horse, but I said, hey, I'm not sure if it's going to happen. And, I let Kupo know here last minute. He was able to jump on. Thank you very much, Mr. Kupo.
Here for you, Sarge.
And I hope you guys are liking those Coffee with Kupo episodes. We'll keep doing more of those in the future, 15 minutes sort of intervals. Hopefully what it means is you got to see me and Kupo Monday, Wednesday, Friday, unless you binge watch them, which by all means do. If you've not caught them, for you to catch them. If you've not liked this video, if you've not shared this video, please feel free to do so. Very much appreciated. I get paid in love and attention and admiration. So consider that your task for today. Well, anyhow, gentlemen, I did want to bring up a topic that was I think discussed at length during the last episode, and we saw sort of a flip flop with Maddie as far as his sort of thinking on the matter. And I kind of want to get you guys' opinion, some fresh faces, some fresh brains, sort of hear what you guys are thinking. You may have heard this already. Something to the effect of, and I don't know, I don't have these specific details, but it sounds like our dear friend Mr. Mosh is not leveling up his heroes. At least not all of them. He's leveling some up, but he is keeping some heroes at level 1. And he's got his rationale. And Maddie was on the "What are you doing? You're crazy" too. He's maybe sort of seeing the rationale behind it. I wanted to get you guys' input, get you guys' thought. What do you think of that strategy? It is one of million. But your thoughts on not leveling up all your heroes? We'll start with you, Zealous. You seem perplexed. You're wondering why anyone would do such a thing. What are your thoughts?
No, I know why, because that's how it all started, right? Users came to me and said, "Hey, how can I stop these heroes from leveling? Because I want to sell, the Moksha runes for these guys, but not these guys. Or I want just my creme de la creme, my filet mignons to level up, not my floor heroes." And yeah, I get it. But I'm of the opinion that you really should level up everything you can. Gosh, I'm thinking hard, because I don't know what I know that I shouldn't say.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alpha.
There's often a lot that, So let me think about what's been said publicly. Hasn't it been said publicly that the next level of profession skills will have minimum level requirements?
Certainly for Boar
Yeah.
Hunt V2, we're gonna have to see. If you want to sort of participate and be successful, we're looking at level 12 as being your optimal level here.
Oh, no. I wasn't
I
talking
think-
about
In
just the
professional.
boar hunts.
I think the way that it's been said is that it's going to be indirectly requiring a level, because they're going to require travel, right? And you're going to have to be able to defeat some kind of enemy along the way to get there, probably, which indirectly might require that your heroes be of a certain caliber. Is that what you were thinking, Jolies?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what's going to happen. And so there will be, the simplest way to look at it is there is no level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hero that has enough HP to survive such a trip, right? So it would make sense for them to instead of put an HP requirement, to just say, level 5, level 10, level 15. And so the way I see it, leveling everything right now gives you two advantages. The first is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you're leveling up all your heroes, but as my heroes have been leveling up and skilling up, my Moksha drop rate has improved. So that means that the more Moksha runes that I've purchased, right, to level up my heroes just a little bit faster, those heroes are producing Moksha runes. And in the very near future, I'm probably going to be the one selling all my runes to market, because all my heroes are going to be level 20. And they're going to have a much higher drop rate. So thank you guys for selling me your Moksha runes.
But there's a method to his madness. And Raph, I don't know about you, I was very much on Maddie's side on this one initially, where I'm thinking, and your side as well, as I get it, right? You're mad. What are you doing? It's going to take you 2 years to catch up. Like, what are you thinking? But as I sit here and I think about it, and I've had some time to think about it, I'm sitting here thinking, hey, you know what? Mosh is playing the long game. He's not thinking 2 years. He's thinking 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, right? He has sort of a point, right? Why is he gonna potentially waste his level ups, Mister? I'm gonna dump stuff in the dark summoning pit, which is a whole nother story. But why waste my level ups? It may be that I need a knight with crazy wisdom and intelligence. It sounds ridiculous as I say it, but there may be truth in that. So I don't know. What do you think, Raph? What do you think of that?
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you may. I see. Let me see. Pull that up. Here we go.
All right, so it's that this decides it all right here. Okay, so there are us mindless degens that are just kind of willy-nilly leveling some, not leveling others. I feel like Mosh holding back. I actually kind of like keeping the powder dry a little bit, but then there's the Bob strategy, and this is where you're taking your, and this is all PvP style focused. I think I have a lot of respect for what Zealous is doing from like a PvE and a farming standpoint. Um, I feel like the optimum PvP strategy, and I don't have the discipline to execute it, is to take your kind of, if you have a 5-step program like I do for making alpha heroes, step 4 is to get all the heroes that are a decent rarity, but they don't have great stats and they don't have a stone yet. Get those guys to level 20. And then once combat comes out, throw them in the pit once you know where to put your level up points. And so it's kind of like building the building blocks that are that will ultimately allow you to pit 2 heroes together, have a high confidence rate that you're going to get an alpha hero. You got to play some of the RNG odds of the summoning dark pit there. But then once you throw on a greater stone, then you can level up however you want. So that's my opinion on this. And that's the Bob strategy, Bob Nothing strategy.
And Bob Nothing strategy sounds genius, if I'm honest, but it makes you think. At first I was like you, Zealous. Hey, you know what? Mosh is mad. Here he is. Potentially wasting away time. Time is precious. But as you spell it out, Raph, he may not be as crazy as Okay, he may be crazy, but it may be a crazy genius. Sir Worm, what are your thoughts? Are you leveling up at past level 1? Are you keeping heroes at level 1 for any period of time willfully?
No. I don't have the patience, and the meta will be shown, and I'll be producing enough level 1s at that time to switch and pivot. My problem with the Mosh strategy and all those strategy is we have 4 codexes. Well, we have all the basic codexes now, and we have 4 actually in combat. So by the time you get to Dread Knight, it will be what you hope at the end of this year, maybe the end of next year. And what level are we going to have open? 30, 40? And you have to start at 1. It's not like if he did it and he did it with 2 level 20s and held it, didn't do his level ups and then go. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that particular hero, like what level he could power level up to. But you have to, assuming that it's level 1 and they raise the level cap, you could be really, really behind. And how long will it take you? Now, will there be will the team release ways for you to get experience faster? Probably. How fast? I mean, right now we're doing, you can about like 800, 900 for a boar hunt. So you could do 2 of them coming up. So I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to take you a year, a year to catch up.
At best. You're at best, but and maybe and that's part of where my argument was, right? You're waiting for a very long time, conceivably, potentially, and that you're right. The meta is ever going to be changing, and by the time you decide to level up, maybe your hero, which you thought was a good premium hero, may not be. Who knows, right? I think part of it for me is, as I think about it even further, hearing some of you guys speak on this is, if you're gonna wait, for me, I'm waiting until we have a bit more clarity as to PvP, PvE sort of maybe rolls out a bit more, and you have an idea as to what's gonna be a good tournament hero or a good dungeon crawl hero. That may be by end of year we have a bit more details as these codecs come out and the game sort of develops a bit further. But I'm not going to sit here and wait 2 years to level up this year, 3 years to level up this year. What about you, Mellow Green? I know you sort of chimed in a bit, but give you an opportunity to maybe say a bit more. Sir Worm, I'll let you finish. It sounds like you've got a thought.
That's one other question is, well, what if realm 3 and 4 come first? And you know what the hero is above that hero. Then your heroes automatically devalued.
Fair. No, absolutely. And let's not give RNG credit, right? You know, you could have you could wait 2 years and then be screwed over with terrible level ups all along the way. Mellow Green, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, in a way, Dread Knights have utility already because they're the duels beasts. So there's that to consider as well. From my perspective, I don't have any of those heroes that we're talking about really for the specific case of what Mosh is doing. There's a whole bunch of other considerations for other heroes and why you would level them up. So it's hard to for me to put myself in those shoes, but I definitely feel that it's a perfectly viable choice to just leave something at level 1. I don't think it's going to be that hard to catch up, that much later. It's really interesting, kind of the way everything has become balanced. We had PJ heroes that got all buffed up from the +5 to 3 stats, but down the road we now have stones. So those PJ heroes didn't have stones, so they're kind of on equal footing with heroes with stones now. So the power creep tends to go up, but tends to stay balanced in a way too, just through the brilliant machinations of the team. But me just being someone that's selling the shovels, that's helping them build those heroes by renting out my summons on my elite ability heroes. I don't really have that choice to make. I just level up all my faves and play with them.
And again, playing devil's advocate all around. I've heard this argument too, right? Where it's like, hey, Mosh has got that 1 of 1, and a set of 800,000 heroes. I've got some 1 of 1s too. They're unique. I have a unique thief that has 4 advanced abilities, and there's not one like it, and there's not been one like it for months. Does that mean it's a good hero because it's one of a kind? Not necessarily. I mean, time will tell whether or not that hero is awesome or not. But I'm not going to sit around and wait. Again, different portfolios. I know someone like Mosh. He's got a plethora of studs. He probably can afford to wait. My 1 of 1 hero that I think is awesome and potentially, might be a something someday. It's a common thief with 4 advanced abilities. Again, it's unique. It's got 5 summons left on it, but it's different wallet types here. Kupo, I know we spoke at length on this. Have changed your heart for you? Are you hearing
Hold on,
everything
one
you've
sec,
heard?
man.
Yeah, of
I have
course.
a question. So I think what would put this into perspective would be to ask the question: does anyone know how many heroes Mosh has? Imagine he has 69 heroes.
Or 420, but continue.
No, but 69, because he likes that number, right? So let's say that he has 69 heroes. Oh, when you find out that's not a joke, that'll be even better. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that Mosh probably has a very boutique selection of heroes. So unlike some of us, where we're trying to basically game the system insofar as getting more lucky rolls with the heroes, right? Because I have a couple of commons that are amazing. They had some crazy level ups, no crystals or nothing, but they're amazing. So you can get lucky if you have enough heroes over a long enough period of time. And I think that Mosh is not the type to go for lucky. I think Mosh is the type to very carefully select and kill off the best of the best, right? He doesn't throw, a knight into the pit. No. Unless it's a dread knight.
Right.
Maybe a dark knight, not a regular knight. So anyway, yeah, that's what I think Mosh is. It's just a boutique selection of heroes. He's not interested in all the noise. So he would look at us and say, you're a bunch of peasants. You know, you're just like
and I am.
fast food heroes. He's like, I don't do no fast food heroes.
And he's got his strategy.
Can I ask a like a kind of a, I think an important question that I probably puts a bit of a fork in the road here, but I feel like we're conflating two topics that Mosh does. Mosh is, I agree with you, Zealous. He goes for the one of ones, but that is a very different strategy in some ways than just leaving those one of ones at level 1, right? And so I feel like there's kind of two different items here. We all could be going for those elite heroes. I mean, that just takes going to buy a lot of stuff on the tavern and go build it from the ground up, like he's done presumably over months and months and years of work. But I think to me, the interesting point is not how do you get to the one of ones, but what do you like? Do you leave them at level 1, and why would you leave them at level 1? And what is the advantage of leaving them at level 1? And I would actually say the advantage isn't that great. And that's why I would put that as kind of like a medium tier option, because most of the codexes have followed heroes' traditional stat growths. And so, the archer has been the one that has deviated most from the stat growth percentages, where endurance is not used in the codex whatsoever. But all the rest of the heroes, they're leaning into their skill trees are all leaning into the traditional stat growth percentages. And so what he's affording himself is, in my opinion, by leaving them at level 1, a marginal potential gain in hero capabilities, where he could be targeting a perfect skill tree. But here's where I feel like that kind of argument breaks down, is that there's game balancing. And so the skill tree for warrior that focuses on strength might be most powerful day 1, but the skill tree that focuses on dexterity might be more powerful in year 2. So I guess that's my my thoughts there. I'll shut up for a moment.
There's more to it than that, though, I think, Raph, because there's also he's probably considering the fact that, if he wants to sell this at some point, somebody might desire to have something that's not been, kind of brought up yet.
Spoiled.
And also, I think there's also the possibility that, like later down the road, like the high ticket crystals and things that you need to like take it up those levels might actually be cheaper and easier to acquire.
Will be.
Very conceivably so, right? But it's just there's so much writing. You've got it. I get it. I get the strategy, and he's playing a high roller strategy, right? That's just who he is. And no knock on Mosh. Don't take this as me knocking Mosh. If anything, I'm fucking jealous of the man. I mean, the balls he's got to do what he does, and not just him all of Mythic Squad. To be honest, this question comes out of a sheer jealousy. But you've got so much writing. Meta can change. RNG can screw you along the way. I mean, there's so much that can happen. Sort of make that strategy. Sort of put it off its kilter. Kupo, thoughts? What do you think?
Thoughts to what? I kind of lost track of a little bit of everything. We talk about the mock situation. We're going back to the leveling situation again.
So the leveling situation specifically. Any thoughts on that? Has your opinion changed? Are you maybe thinking, hey, what, for certain heroes, it may make sense to leave them at level 1?
Oh no! So I respect Mosh, and I love the man. I love everybody from the Mythic Squad. I love everybody on the stream. You know me; I'm just all love. But to go back to that situation, 1, no. 10, yes. And the reason why is because those like Shikas runes are like dirt cheap, like nothing. So I got what I call my second generation heroes being raised right now. I got my first generation, which was like, I don't know what they're wanting. They're foragers. I'll just put more dexterity and intelligence, So those heroes that like my knights with the dexterity boost actually ended up being pretty good. But now that we kind of got a little bit more that's going on with like character development, and what type of fighting stats are required and what other stats could be required for like things like crafting. I got what I'm calling Generation 2 going up right now. I have plenty of comments and uncomments. I am nowhere near these top of the food chain type of situations that a lot of these other people have, where they're pulling out like elite and advanced traits like all over the place and stuff. My guys are lucky if they have like one advanced trait. But I got like the pyramid thing going on. So I got my top tier class heroes, which are like my elites. They could be anywhere from like my commons to like my PJ heroes. They get the first dibs of the food. They're like always going to get that mokshas. And then I'm going to kind of like feed it through like the next tiers, my legendaries, my mythics, and other ones that have promising futures that I just didn't royally destroy in the beginning unless it was on purpose. And eventually it gets down to like okay, which of your 10s might turn an 11 today? So I kind of go with like a pyramid thing. Mokshas are still like an average of like $1. So you think 100 mokshas are still it's like $100 still. So that gets a little costly when you start to feed like your top tier heroes like 3 and 4 moksha at a time just to reach those next levels. So like I said, I got like a food filter type situation. Certain heroes, when they're about to go with the 16 to 17, 17 to 18, they'll get first dibs.
Triage.
If I just happen to have other heroes that are available, then I'll kind of filter down to like the other ones to see where that's going to go.
All right, so this is either going to go is that going to be good, or you guys aren't going to be able to hear this and it just won't make any sense. Moshkas are $1.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
Hopefully you guys heard that. And that's an interesting strategy, Koopa. I mean, I like it. I sort of see, but you're coming at it from a crafting perspective, and I see you sort of laying that foundation down the line. That's sort of who you're aiming to be, and I totally respect that. And you know, we've talked at length about how, you know, there's going to be this sort of spectrum of people who, or a division between those who are going to be consumers and those who are going to be producers. Mellow Green Giant is, you know, sort of good segue for me, Koopa. Let's talk strategies. What you're all doing. Little Birdie told me, Mellow Green, that you've just recently picked up. You've snagged up some interesting PJ heroes that Mr. Brobia was sort of having. He had his eyes on. Is that your strategy? What's your strategy today? Because I feel like for me, it's changed from day one, and it's evolved, and it's gone in many different directions. And I'll share with you all what I'm doing right now. But what are you doing today? What sort of what's your cup of tea? What are you sort of enjoying as far as DFK and the specific strategy you're implementing?
My strategy is always to gradually build value. So, you know, you brought up the specific case of the PJ heroes. I definitely was not purchasing any of the heroes that Brovia was eyeing, because you
didn't pull a Matty Pesk. I got you.
No, he exclusively eyes mythic PJ heroes. And what I did was I was watching the stream, and I was, you know, feeling a little, you know, jealous and weak with my, you know, common PJs. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go fire up the tavern and see what's up there. And I found, you know, a rare ninja that was just like really well priced PJ. And another one, a legendary archer that was really well priced. And I was like, wow, I'm just going to snag those two because it's a really good value. And that's my game, really, is just finding deals, you know, building them up and then selling them for more later. Just slowly grind them.
Hey, no, that makes sense. It's a sound strategy. It's I get made fun of for saying it's sort of a conservative approach when we're all degenning on so many different levels. But no, it's a sound strategy. I can't fault it. Raf, what are you doing today? What's your sort of what's your DFK strategy? What are you implementing in these days?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Working on building my manifesto for leveling up, and I hope it draws a lot of controversy.
Nice.
We'll see. I feel like stats are king. First and foremost, I feel like heroes with the best stats, they will perform the best. Obviously, the pilot of the heroes and the choice of the metagame of the, you know, the creation of the team around them, that will obviously have a big impact. But let's just say those gains are neutral, and two equal players playing each other, stats are king. And so, you know, it's one hero playing against another hero. Doesn't matter if it's a uncommon versus a mythic. The stats are what's going to win the day at the end. And so I'm playing into stats. And then second to that, I'm going for elite above passive abilities. And so I really feel like Giant Slayer, Last Stand, and Second Life are going to be transformative. When we look at boar hunts, one of my reason for why I think those are so powerful is that there is a real turn economy, and I give a shout out to Matty Pesk for really being the first on the scene for this. When you look at the skills that heroes have, even in the boar hunt, like skills are so much better than the basic attack. And so what's even better than a skill that you have to use a turn for? It's a passive ability that boosts your ability to just play all your other skills.
Bingo.
And so that's why I'm so convinced that passives are going to be much stronger than the active abilities in game, because I feel like they're going to do a good job balancing active abilities. And so I'm first going for stats, and then I'm going for elite plus abilities on the passive side.
And for the longest time, there was a period in time where passive abilities, if you were looking at advanced elite abilities in the tavern, those were priced lower than sort of than your active abilities. That changed recently. I'm not sure when, but that seemed to change. A lot of people, and maybe it's not a lot of people, but maybe it's the right people. Have sort of shifted in perspective along the way to sort of agree with you, Raph, that passive abilities are king, right? And I suppose, like anything, time will tell whether or not or for how long passive abilities are king. That's always anything subject to change. I'm interested to see whether or not that gets nerfed along the way, and how it does, and why it does, maybe. But it's sound strategy. I don't think it's as controversial as maybe you would have thought. Others, do you guys agree or disagree with that statement? I mean, passive ability is king, aside from stats,
Kinda.
of course.
Oh yeah.
You do. All right, Mellow Green. Let's hear it.
I agree. Like they're I like them better, but the whole like advanced elite ability thing in general, like personally, like I'm not building for those right now at all. They seem to garner the same value regardless of what kind of hero they're on, or well, not what kind of hero they're on, but among the same tier and whatnot. But what I've seen from the combat engine and how it works now is that things are very case dependent as far as what is useful in what situation. So I feel completely unconfident in my ability to predict what abilities I'm going to want on a certain kind of hero for some theoretical future time when I need to use those. And that's, it's kind of part of the beauty of having dark summoning is, when those things come out and we get more knowledge, we can just send more heroes through the grinder and make what we need. So I know it can be fun to kind of speculate and like build heroes that you think will be cool and useful. But for me, I'd rather sit and wait and build for what I know I can use now.
Oh boy, I definitely.
I have a rebuttal for Malachi.
Yeah, I want to hear the rebuttal. I wanted to wait, but it's just it. All right, let's hear it, Raph. You go.
All right, Malachi Giant in 2035, when passive ability capabilities come out.
Yeah,
I'll be the one laughing then. All right.
Yeah. 2035, man. Let's set it. I'll put a thing on my calendar. Let's have a
I can't wait. I think that's. I mean, I love your point. I feel like that's the glaring weak spot in my strategy is that you gotta play what's released right now in the game, and we don't really know what the timeline is for some of these features to come out. Like, it's taken us 3 years to get to level 20, and it could take us another 8 years to get to level 100. And we don't even know when the rest of things are going to be released. So glad you're having fun with it like I am.
No, absolutely. I'll wait on what I was gonna say, because it's gonna segue to a different topic. So I'll wait on that. I'll table that thought for a second. Zealous, what's your DGen DFK strategy? What are you implementing today?
DGen DFK strategy. Gosh, I try to. So my issue is that I can't just play the game how I want to. I'm sort of required to play how everyone plays. I have to get a taste, because if I don't understand how anyone plays, then I can't help them. with their strategy, and I can't help anybody else, go along with it. To give you an example of that, you guys have probably noticed that the AI's leveling system has changed over time, and that, for example, right now it will level up heroes whenever it checks whether heroes can be leveled up. It does it based on the lowest level first, right? Lowest level heroes level up first. What does that mean? That means that one, like one of you said, we don't have the issue with, needing 5 moksha runes, right, to level up one hero. If there are 5 heroes that can be leveled up with those 5 moksha runes, and we do them first. So that's the idea, is that all the heroes will reach 10 first, and then 11 together, and then 12 and 13. And the other thing the AI does is the AI sorts the heroes by rarity. So if there is a mythic and a common, it will level up the mythic first. That's a lower level, right? So these are the strategies that everybody else has implemented. But there are so many, right? So I have to be careful in having some heroes that are focused on crafting. I have to build up an inventory of items to prepare me for crafting so I can test it and play with it. I need to have heroes that are able to compete in the duels, that are able to compete in the hunts and the future hunts. I mean, all of the above, right? I have Gen Zeros for that purpose. So yeah, I try to get a taste. I mean, what I do is I watch you guys. Let's put it this way. I watch all the streams. I jot down your strategies, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of that too. So that's what I have. I have a little bit of everything. I don't have anything amazing. I don't have any second life, characters or whatever, but I do have some advanced abilities, So yeah. I want to add something.
I'm the same as Zealous right now.
I do the spectrum, but the Mosh situation, the way that I like to think about it is Mosh is creating like scratchable tickets, the scratchable raffle tickets.
Yeah.
And he's creating ones that he knows underneath the scratchable ink, there's like $1 million down there, right? He knows. So he doesn't need to scratch them. All he needs to do is wait. And the reason is twofold. First of all, heroes have a higher value if they have the potential to become great. Whereas if he levels them up and they don't level up well, then their value will decrease, right? But somebody that's willing to buy such a hero is thinking, gosh, this could be the perfect hero. That's number one. Number two, since he has created perfect heroes, right? They got like all these transcendent abilities and stuff. He's afraid that by leveling them up, he's scratching off those, those numbers, and they're not going to be very good.
All right. Counter argument to that. I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna politely say that that's not Mosh's strategy. If Mosh was worried about scratching off wrong numbers, he wouldn't be tossing in dreadnoughts into the dark summoning pit, because those are lottery tickets, right? He's tossing in those lottery tickets and conceivably never getting those back. And in fact, saying, hey, he's come. He said on numerous occasions that, hey, you know what, I'm tossing in all these heroes, and you guys see the gems that come out. You don't see all the rugs, because he doesn't share those.
Millions,
but millions of rugs for sure. But no, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Can
I
I
have a question
interrupt
for
real
you
quick?
guys? Yeah, go ahead.
I like your point, Zealous. And Sergeant, what I would say though is Mosh is tossing them in to raise the floor of that mystery scratch underneath. So I totally agree with Zealous, is that he is continuing to toss in the valuable ones to raise the floor of the value of what's underneath that hidden scratch. And he's doing
he doesn't want to lock it in.
Right.
He doesn't want to lock it in.
He doesn't want to lock it in, but he likes raising the floor of what it could be.
Can I ask you guys a question? So, because whenever I hear this, I wonder, why is this person doing this? Why do they think this way? What do they think is going to happen? And so here's a question. Have any of us ever considered that maybe the first 5 levels, all heroes should do vitality as number 1? because you know how vitality accumulates, right? Like HP accumulates. So you get the most benefit from vitality if you get it in the first couple of levels. And I've noticed that many of us have had issues where our favorite heroes aren't worth a crap in the hunts, right? Because they don't have enough HP. It just, you know, they're awesome, but they don't have enough HP.
I get that, and I see Sticks intern here. You know, intelligent wisdom on second, third. I get that. I'll be honest. For me, I HP is great, but I think mana is more valuable. But at least for me, and the way I'm playing boar hunts, and again, this is for me. It's my priest who's carrying the team, and that's just the way I'm playing it. I know it's not necessarily the way many of you all would play it. But for me, HP is good, but mana is king. Oh boy, is that what do you guys think of that one? Is that a hot take?
How about
Depends
both?
on the hero.
Exactly.
It does
Depends
depend on
class,
the
right?
hero.
Yeah.
It
HP
does
on your
depend on
knight.
the hero.
MP on your priest, and maybe on your archer, so you can keep firing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm definitely not doing it first on my knights. You know, they end the boar hunt with lots of mana left.
Yeah, it's like a draw if you're doing like an 80-20, a 50-50. I mean, it depends on the actual, like, you know, profession to see, I'm sorry, the class, I mean, to see what hero actually needs like more HP and more MP.
And so that's what I think Mosh is thinking, right? He's thinking, you know, we right now don't know what the stats need to be. Like maybe at level 1, it's a no-brainer that you use this stat. This stat is the +1. Maybe the first 5 levels, maybe the first 10 levels. We don't know. We're doing the highest growth. We're doing profession stats. We're adding a little luck in there, but we don't know. And so Mosh is like, I'm not going to scratch that ticket until it's perfect. I know exactly what the stat needs to be.
And we do know they have stats mathematically for them. The way they structured it, I mean, Hubert said it before on our pod and on, I'm sure, in other forums as well. But like, he doesn't like how HP it grows and MP the same way. I mean, they aren't linear like with the rest of the stats. Like the way the HP grows stacks on itself, and the same with MP. It's a derivative stat that can grow exponentially, and I feel like the team is going to have a heck of a time trying to balance that in the future, and they have a lot of great ideas on how they can use weapons and stacking skills and the skill tree to balance that out, but it's not going to be easy because and so that would like certainly point towards, you know, getting some HP points within the early levels, because if you get a large HP boost, you know, at level 10 and you already have 30 vitality, or you already have the wisdom and the int necessary for that high boost on the MP, that's going to be a big payoff for your hero. So yeah, I think the team has a balancing challenge in front of them for sure. And I think there's a legitimate argument for getting vitality up and wisdom intelligence up on the early levels. Kind of you know, it would have to match like the field is saying here. It would have to match what your hero is good at. You know, it's like a knight, you're gonna want to focus on that vitality. A caster, you're gonna want to focus on wisdom or intelligence, but which you probably will already. So that's my thoughts there.
Oh boy, which leads me to another question. You bring up in terms of interesting. I guess it all depends on how you end up playing the game. Casters versus. I won't go there. I guess what it comes down to is I really love I love my casting sort of ensemble. I'm looking forward to those summoners and wizards and sages. I'm excited to see what they roll out for those. You know, these melee heroes are awesome. They're great, but I'm all about these casting heroes. I'm stoked to see what comes of them. Seer, yes, yeah. I mean, even Seer, and that's just you know, the hero tree we know of. You know who's you know what the rest of the hero tree looks like. Who knows? Sir Worm, Kupo, any final thoughts on what we've been chatting about? Anything to chime in?
Yeah, actually, I've got something I want to chime in. So, like you said, it doesn't really matter too much if people want to keep their heroes at level 1 right now. The primary reason is because like EXP is slow at this current time. We have mostly profession quests and 1 void hunt a day that we can do with these heroes. Over time, the team said that they want to introduce more void hunts, and they want fighting to actually be like the primary gain for like EXP. So we can't just think just because they're sitting at the starting line that they're not going to be able to catch up right away. These heroes eventually, as more mechanics are introduced to the game, and we get ourselves like more things that we can fight, more opportunities, more activities, more hunts we can participate, we can get these heroes up in probably like no time at all. So, I mean, I have nothing really against the people keeping it at 1. Some of us, like myself, like to keep them up at 10. Minimal. Other people want to start their heroes up lower and work up towards the higher, like how Zealous was talking about. But like the game is exactly how the DFK intends it to be. Everybody plays their own way. Whether we want to get those champions, whether we think our commons are champions, whether you want to keep them at level 1, it's just all based on what's going to be happening in the future. And that's kind of what the developers of this game are looking for right now. They want to see how we play, and they want to make sure we're all playing our own way.
No, very true, very fair, Sir Worm. Any final thoughts there?
No, ditto.
What I will say is, I did try and invite Mosh himself to sort of give us what he was thinking. He's not here, but I'm sure he would say the following.
If you can't beat them in a game show, just kick their asses.
And I that may have been Beeve. I don't know. They're twins. They're interchangeable sometimes.
Let's have them fighting karate combat on the next one.
That would be impressive. Did you guys catch the karate combat or any piece of it by any chance? Any of you?
I did. I like never watch any physical sporting event of any kind, but I thought I'd check it out. It was a little hard to watch, not my thing, but I checked it out. It was neat. It's cool to see DeFi Kingdoms on the map.
Yeah, it was super cool. They had DFK on the mat. They had a DFK commercial, a few of those promoting their champions key. Super cool. I was watching it while doing dishes, and my wife walks by and she's like, "The fuck are you watching?" I was like, "It's DFK related." She's like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" Because I don't watch combat sports either. It's very sort of a niche
Could they
thing.
have picked a marketing opportunity farther away from their typical base? Like, I the same as you guys. I'm like,
tangent of tangents.
Yes. It is the
tangent or boxing ever.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'm watching some of the people they're interviewing, because they're interviewing people between fights, and you've got Muhammad Ali's wife there. You had Frank Sinatra's what was it, son-in-law. You had the Island Boys. Do you guys know who those two fine gentlemen are? And I'm here thinking, I was like, none of them know or care what DFK is. But as far as marketing goes, I mean, we've given the team shit for not doing much over the years. They're doing something, and from what I understand, hey, they're doing something, and it's there, and it's now, and it's super, it's interesting. They're getting eyes on it. I think last I checked, they had several 100,000 views on that stream, which is pretty impressive. As far as marketing goes, I mean, we've just been talking about it. Maybe you guys aren't swayed, but that specific marketing effort, or at least the way things have ramped up recently, is that doing something for you guys? Are you guys excited? I know I feel like things may have slowed down, at least for me, when the hack happened, and that's probably another topic. But things have picked up a bit. I mean, what do you guys think of their marketing efforts today, or at least the way they've developed recently?
I think what they're doing is appropriate for the state we're in at this time. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I think, there's been some recent events that have been really bad for sentiment, just to be clear and plain about that, even though, the Serendel, the orbit chain thing, didn't directly affect the team, but it still affects sentiment. It impacts the ecosystem to some degree. And, the Twitter thing wasn't fun either. So, we're still kind of recouping from that.
God,
How about the Clayton merge?
Yeah.
The Clayton merge, yeah, it just at this point it's Serendale feels cursed. I don't know about you all, but it's like, it's that, yeah, the Harry Potter. I can't think. I'm blanking. Oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's the land that's cursed and not to be mentioned, because it just seems like when all things are fine, we may, and not that this is happening. No one's saying this, but it just feels like we're on the verge of like looking for another home. It feels that way.
Yeah, I think Zealous. That's a great thing to bring up, because like I haven't seen a lot of like opinions on that really, but like for me, when I hear that, like that's just like scary to me. Like even though it's like maybe like cool for Clayton or whatever, like the whole thought of them like merging and migrating to some new chain is just like, oh god, this is going to be so much time and work for the team that we don't want them to have to do.
I read through a piece of their proposal, and there was a comment or a question asked by, I don't know how it works, one of the valid, I don't know who asked questions. So someone asked the questions like, what, any concerns, any thoughts? And there was something to the effect of, hey, not that they're concerned, but they're acknowledging the fact that migrating all their assets is going to be potentially a headache. And I just think of like, oh my god, like here we go again, like no more migrations. I mean, really, what it comes down to me is I have this sense of trepidation. The amount of time, the setback it took to move, from Harmony to Clayton. We were set back as a project months as far as the work and effort, and maybe they've streamlined it to a point where it's copy paste. I don't think so, but maybe they have, right? And maybe if and when we need a transition, it's more seamless. But like you, Mellow Green, I can't imagine the tremendous setback potentially. Raph, Worm, Kupo, any thoughts on that Clayton potential merge or migration?
Oh, I'm on the same boat here. As they were saying before, we've already seen like the scare with Serendale, this poor cursed realm that the team has started off on and kind of just now is just getting beat up so bad. Our beloved bloater and everything that we've come to start off in love with, DFK, is just getting this like dark cloud over them. Like I feel so bad between the orbit hack and the chain merger, all within like just literally the same exact time here. It just sort of like it's like overwhelming. It's like, wow, new year, new opportunities. No, I feel like we're going backwards again. We don't want that. We want the team to keep moving forward. We want them to keep developing. We want to stop this resistance. We want a game. We want things to move on. We want to see our tokens start earning profit. When we want to see some abilities for our heroes to actually partake in something more than just like the boar hunts. We want more of a game. And unfortunately, these setbacks, like it's unfortunate that's just how the crypto space is, but these setbacks are really pushing this team back far. And we want to make sure that this team survives, this project survives, and these massive hurdles kind of need to slow back a little bit.
And I can't help but think like I'm not faulting the team whatsoever, but I can't help but think, hey, you know what? Dark Summoning's not on Serendale. Boar Hunt is, all these, features that aren't on Serendale. I'm coming to think, it's strategic, right? Like, why waste your time on an uncertainty? And that's not what they're saying, but it's, I guess, sort of what it feels like sometimes. We've got a special guest here behind the scenes who said he wanted to come on and say a quick thing, and I believe it. Let's see what he's got to say. SI, welcome. You're muted. You're streaming from some closet, it looks like.
This is great.
You're muted, SI, and you're talking. You look very animated, but we can't hear you.
Anyone took lip reading classes?
Nope. He's trying, though. I seem we can't hear you. Hello.
There we
go. I'm not in a closet. I'm in the grocery store parking lot, getting guinea pig food for my pets. But I just wanted to say, like, on the topic of marketing, I was on, I think, this stream, Candor Gander Show, almost a year ago, and people were begging for more marketing. And I don't even remember what the game was, but there was like, I think it was Diablo 4 being marketed on like KFC cups. It was everywhere you looked. And I was like, look, guys, that is the type of marketing we would need to get this game like really noticed by the mainstream. It's something that is pushing the name DeFi Kingdoms into the eyes of everyone, regardless of whether that's the thing they typically look at or the thing that they even want to be looking at. And so by comment here on like the partnership with Karate Combat is sure, maybe fighting sports aren't my favorite thing. They're not my cup of tea, but I bet there's a lot of people out there whose cup of tea is fighting sports that are also hyper competitive gamers that love to break it down on like the digital ones and twos, you know? And this is literally putting the name DeFi Kingdoms into the eyeballs of people who never would have seen it, never would have thought about it, never would have cared about it. This is what I was saying would be almost impossible almost a year ago. And now look where we are. I'm pretty excited about it. And that's all I came to say. Tagline reads Mosh fan.
Oh, there you go. And I must say, thanks for coming on. Wait, SI, before you go, one quick question. How many people do you have signed up for your tournament tomorrow?
Oh, it is, I think, at or above 40 now at this point. It was 20.
Whoa.
It was 20 on Monday. And now I think we're above 40 cleanly. I checked a little bit earlier. It was at 38. And I've had 2 people specifically hit me up since then with sign-up information. So I know we're at 40. And I think maybe more that just did it on their own. I'm just waiting at this point till midnight Pacific, which is in a little under 2.5 hours when the sign-ups close. And I'm going to set up the schedule. So everyone going to bed on the East Coast right now, you'll have it ready when you wake up.
Well, what I'm hearing is SI, he wants more work before if you can sign up at 11:59 on the dot Pacific,
I mean,
SI will appreciate you.
Because I have to manually turn that shit off. I'm not a coder. I'm going into Google Drive, like, click. But anyway, thank you for letting me on to say that. I was really hyped up about the marketing. Love the panel. Great discussion. Once again, Mosh fan. Bye.
Great to see you, man.
Bye. No, and he brings up an interesting point. Yeah, I will say this much. I think like the next crypto gem, and I think we've all said what we've said about the show. I think what's great about this Karate Combat thing, marketing effort. It's not necessarily the audience, but it's the networking. I think of Dreamer being there, and yes, maybe Muhammad Ali's mom or wife is not her target audience, but she might know a wealthy person who sees the vision and understands. And
she's buying Jewel right now, dude.
I mean, when the fighters retire, they're gonna play games like this, right?
Absolutely. And if they're not playing games like this, maybe they see the novelty in this, and and they want to invest in. I'm not against it. Far from it. I think it's it's awesome. They're doing something. They've heard us, and if I know the team the way I think I know the team, whatever it's costing them to sort of do the promotions, I am sure they're pennies on the dollar. Don't hold your breath on a Super Bowl commercial, but I'm sure this was well within their budget for sure.
I think it's all George. I think it's a gift from George.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And if it's not sort of a gift, I'm sure he's helped sort of offset costs in some form or fashion. If anything, just by knowing the guy, like I said.
He's extremely generous with his projects. Extremely generous. So on both sides.
And speaking of projects, speaking of Clayton and the such, how do you guys feel about an expansion before end of year, an expansion round before end of year? Does that tickle your fancy, or does that sort of like, I don't want to see another round until I see X feature come in?
Can I set this up?
Set it up, baby.
Okay, so one of the issues with the Serendale thing is that the team will very likely have to decide whether to migrate or not. And when they evaluate the amount of work that it will take to migrate versus the amount of work it will take to move to a different chain, they would probably find that it's easier to move to the other chain. And the reason I say this is because the other chain will have been established. The other chain will be wealthy. The other chain will be tried and tested, right? No issues with the code, etc. Whereas this thing, it looks like a beta thing. Looks like it's not really finalized, or a lot of moving parts. So they're basically, if you see in their message, they say, oh, you guys should really wait until we've, finalized everything before you start, generating the code. That's a really bad sign. I don't much like it. So I think we should consider the possibility that we will be moving somewhere, but moving somewhere better. So let's say that Clayton saved Serendale, right? At the time, they had resources, they had another user base that we thought would be useful. They have contributed to us. We have contributed to them an enormity in gas fees. I want to add also that all the money that goes on DFK, that goes to Clayton and is spent on gas, is lost to the DFK ecosystem completely. Jewel is not lost. Clay is lost. Why is it lost? Because we don't control the validators like we do with DFK chain, right? If any of that is burned, we don't benefit like we do with Jewel, and so forth. So, but I also want to say, before this happened, didn't some of us want the team to consider moving somewhere else?
Yes and no. I mean,
were you happy with the gas fees on Clayton? Were you happy with the 1 second finality issue that wouldn't allow more than 5 heroes in a quest or 5 attempts? Or
the gas conversation can be an episode on its own. I really think the gas issue is a non-issue for me, because I think it's bigger than we would love for every profession quest to be profitable. I think, simply said, the fact is that those days are gone and they may never come back. When I think of questing, when I think of just anything in general, I don't see it as an ROI in the sense of what am I getting back as far as dollars and cents. I think about it from the perspective of what am I getting back in the form of XP, which is why, going back to the level 1/3 of heroes, that's what baffles me, right? If you're paying all this gas to quest and do all these things, it's for the purposes of being able to level up your heroes. Why leave them at level 1? From that perspective, the gas piece, again, was not sort of a deal breaker for me. I think part of the deal breaker for me now is this sort of uncertainty. And rather than moving, maybe moving to another chain, I would say, hey, you know what? Let's stop. Let's stop fucking around. Another subnet. Let's just create another subnet. Stabilize Serendale. Let's stop moving. If we're gonna move to a Ronin chain or an Arbitrum or a layer 3 or another layer 2, whatever, what have you, let it be on a let's create another round for that, and maybe make it down the road. But I'm tired of making the Serendale thing kicking the can down the road. I almost see it as maybe some of this leverage goes away with things like expeditions, right? I think what we could all lean on as a team was, hey, look at all these transactions. We get million, we get all these transactions. Look at us. Expeditions are gonna come. Transactions are conceivably gonna come down. That leverage maybe goes away and maybe makes it less sexy. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. But those are my 2 cents there. If we're moving, I just move it to something stable. If we're gonna branch off to another realm, let's do that. But Serendale, let's stabilize that hot mess. Sir Worm, Raph, any thoughts there?
I don't know how we're breezing over the Sergeant F-bomb that just
Bam!
happened. Like, I mean, this was just, I mean, I need to clip this now. I don't know. Yeah.
I must say, I didn't know that for anyone interested, Jack Daniels and Cook, they've partnered up, and you don't have to mix your Jacks and Cooks anymore. They come pre-mixed for you.
In a can.
How did it take this long for that to happen?
Right?
Exactly.
You can get them at your local Costco. Anyhow,
should be as amazing as Serendale moving to a new most logical chain. I don't know. I agree with you, Sergeant. I feel like they gotta get this figured out. I feel like with the keys as a potential revenue source, I feel like putting Serendale onto a new chain could be 10x better. There was a lot of rumors that swirled around with some of the last shows that the team went to, that potentially they were getting recruited by other other chains to bring to do expansions on, and I just feel like it's a great opportunity. I hope they choose something stable, but also I feel like keys are just as much a distract. Well, it's not totally fair. They're a bit of a distraction for the team, but not really a time-intensive distraction. Moving chains would be a massively time-intensive distraction, but if it's right for the system, or how about this, Sergeant? If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
I love that. You get. I'm sure I've got a. Let me see.
This is a certified hood classic.
Let's go with that one. That's the button I pressed. That's what we're going with. It's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Airdrops are hot, Mellow Green. I see that. Any thoughts on airdrops there? Is your comment related to this chain migration?
Well, it's funny. Sticks Intern is right. But my comment is just more about just like being a little underwhelmed by this whole airdrop season theme, and it's not really my jam.
Free money. What could go wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of like, for me, it's like there's too many ifs. I like more reliable outcomes when I spend my time on things. I don't want to chase an airdrop and wonder if there's actually an airdrop, if I'll do the right things to get it, if I won't get hacked while I'm trying to do it, if I'll get something that's worth anything when it comes out. There's just too many ifs there. I'd rather do things that are like, if I do this, I get this. More reliable.
It means not a Ponzi.
Ponzi wasn't that a meme? Yeah, no, airdrops, karate combat airdrops. Get your champions gi for an opportunity at a karate airdrop there. Sir Worm, any thoughts? Are you tired of all sort of this? I get it. You got to be politically correct with your partners, and I'm sure. I get Dreamer playing nice, but are we done playing nice? Aren't you fed up?
We're now in a position of strength where we were going from a position of weakness back the first time, and I made this analogy, I think, on Bogshite's chat, that we were the hot college recruit, and we were recruited, and then the coach left, and we're not starting anymore. We were supposed to start, and we're not going to start. And now we're sitting on the bench, and we're going what the heck is going on? And now you're sitting on the team's merging with another conference. And it's like, I don't even like this team. What am I doing
demolish
here?
the stadium.
It's like, it's like
when companies merge,
we're DFK. Things are going up. Things are looking great. What are we doing here? And they're going to be I get what may appeal to them is that what they're doing, or what they're stating that they're doing, is very cutting edge of merging two different, this is totally out of my realm, two different languages, EVM and something else together, so that you can bridge between the two. Do we want to be on the experimental end of that as well? We've done subnet. So the team has done experimental. I just don't know right now if you want to develop the game, and if you're really focusing on the game. I don't think developmental on the technology side, the language side, is where you want to be at this moment. So yeah, go somewhere where people are, that you feel safe. Yeah, we're gonna have to start over again, but sounds like we're gonna start over regardless. You're gonna start over even if you stay. So might as well start over where you feel most comfortable and where you can get the biggest bang for your buck.
Before we go to you, Kupo, Bender Rodriguez, he's got a response to you, Sir Worm. He knows the solution.
It's nothing a lawsuit won't cure.
maybe not. Kupo, any thoughts there? I mean, wrap us up on this topic. Are you wanting a migration? Are you done? Are you
It's
fed
been
up with all the flip flopping here?
so yeah, the flip flop it really sucks. I mean, we're trying to progress, but we keep regressing back down to this like awful state that we keep going in. You know, every time we try to jump, we just keep falling back down, and we really got to find something more stable. Now that the team kind of has more like a bigger like roadmap planned, a bigger idea for what they're capable of doing and what they want to do. If we are going to be trying to like move off of this and try finding ourselves a third time, you know, third time's a charm or three strikes you're out. That's basically how I'm looking at it this time. We got to make sure that it's more stable ground. Finding something that's a little bit more comparable to the contracts that they're working with, so we don't just have like party of 5 teams that are 80% more gas than what like Crystal Vale has to offer. Find that compensation point where they're going to be working with us more as opposed to showing us some resistance with the stuff that they want to accomplish with this game. Make it so you're accounting to both the satisfaction of not only the developer side but your investor sides as well, where you want the fan base and player base like us and your future whales and other people that want to participate with DFK to actually join up with that. Personally, I never even heard of Clayton until they actually even dropped the bomb that they're moving Sarandel over there. It was like, oh, okay, there's this thing called Clayton now. So, I mean, there's a lot of popular brand name chains that we've already discussed a few times in the chat already that people have already been like hinting at that they'd like to see. And they already said that like when they've gone to these other conventions that they're talking to other developers that want to have DFK on their chains as well. We got to find the ones if we are going to move to the third time. What Six Intern said before, what's the biggest like possible like airdrop or compensation they give to us, so it doesn't feel like we're kind of being screwed over. But at the same time, also look for to solidify like the future of DFK. You know, we really want to make sure that we can strive. We don't want to just keep every time we think we're moving forward, we're moving backwards because of Sarandel. We want it to stop. We want to find people that are going to cooperate with us, and we want it to work for everybody. But it could take time.
This whole Clayton conversation, for me, it falls between these two sound bites. It's either this one.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
So there's that one, and then there's this one.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
I mean, really, it's what it comes down to, right? It's like it just feels like, oh my god, like let's stop playing this. Let's just stop beating around the bush. So for anyone who heard me, I have no problem with Gassy. Let's just move Sarandel to East, and we'll be happy campers. Done with that one. Kidding on that one. I want to end with this one. We started with talking Mosh, and this is Mosh specific. I've seen the likes of Raph, you were doing some of this. France is doing this. Mythic Squad's doing this. Many people are doing. Everyone's doing it these days. Dark summoning. And we can end on this note, and it's really this for me. It comes down to, I get it. I totally get it. Dark summoning, you're gonna get your best heroes, but for me, I'm terrible at analogies. But I walked through this one 50 times to make sure it made sense in my head, and hopefully it makes sense when I regurgitate it. To me, it's like you own a restaurant and you're making food for people, and they've not even come through the door. They've not looked at the menu, and you hope that they're gonna like the food you're making. Yes, Dark Summoning's gonna make some awesome heroes, but they may not be the heroes we're needing. I'm still on the train that we're prematurely Dark Summoning heroes. Any thoughts there before we wrap up?
Well, hopefully you don't have Gordon Ramsay visit your restaurant because, you know, not everything like that is able to be like successful in my opinion. So everybody, like I said earlier, I always stick into this statement myself. I hold my guns when I say everybody plays the game in their own unique way. You might get your gamblers that might be your high rollers that like end up pretty good. You got your other people that'll be broke, and then you got your other people that'll want to always be like on the rail of safety. You know, they'll take that bench where they know they can make themselves their small gains, but they'll never risk anything huge. So that's kind of what Dark Summoning is. Personally, I dabble with Dark Summoning usually only when they have like an event being thrown up there, like the Halloween event, or when they're offering like those other participation events that they offered when the Dark Summoning first came out. So I don't do dark summoning as much, only because I'm a smaller wallet personally, so I don't have as many heroes I like to throw in there. But would that hold me back personally from doing dark summoning? Absolutely not. If there was an incentive to dark summoning, I would do it. And there is always that opportunity for dark summons to actually get those better heroes. So yes, I'm on board with the dark summoning thing. And at the same time, I'm also conservative. So everybody plays the game at their own way.
No, absolutely. I get that. Raph, I mean, what do you think of that? I know you're dark summoning, but what do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Are you doing it prematurely? What are your thoughts?
The problem with your premise is every restaurant has a soup of the day.
Oh God, that's so good. God damn it. God damn it, that's so good. I've got nothing for that. That's good. That's good.
He's
That's
such an
a mic.
orator.
Oh God, it's so good. You don't even have to say anything. I'm not gonna embarrass myself by asking you anything else on the matter. but seriously, I mean, yes, every restaurant has its soup of the day, and I totally get the argument, right? You know, and you were alluding to it earlier, right? It comes down to, yes, it's cheaper to do some of that today, but aren't you? Isn't there a piece of you that's maybe wary of the fact that, you know, maybe your awesome hero that you think you've built and you've put so much time and effort into building, you know, don't you have the sense of trepidation? You know, maybe a trepidation word of the day. Can you guys tell? Of this fear that down the line it may not be the awesome hero you think it was.
In terms of the heroes that come out of the pit, no. I mean, the pit giveth, the pit taketh. The one thing that I would love to see thematically is that, like, the heroes that go into the pit, like, eventually we fight them. Like, there are zombies that arise and come to kill us all. Like, I mean, that would be a heck of a lot of fun, just from a thematic standpoint. But from a practical standpoint, I have no problems with the pit.
That's fair enough. Any other thoughts from the bunch here? Mellow Green, you maybe have a thought, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so dark summoning is an integral part of the DFK ecosystem. And right now it is used by certain people, maybe more selectively, but I'll just make a prediction that as we go forward in time, it will be used more and more because there will be more need to adapt the old junk to the new game as it evolves. And, you know, I think, you know, it's no accident that they put it in when they did. And it was probably in the design from the beginning. And I think it's just going to be used more and more. It's a key factor in helping to make this whole system work going forward for combat balance.
And I agree with you, Mellow Green. I think SI sort of reiterating part of the point here. Dark summoning is a power leveling mechanic. It's also really, if it wasn't for dark summoning, I can't imagine what the hell we'd all be doing. Summoning's fun, but can we envision ourselves summoning for this period of, I mean, dark summoning really brought this level of entertainment that that's been unmatched as far as summoning goes. I mean, it was a savior in many respects.
And dark summoning is, I think dark summoning basically takes two paths. Two paths. It's one path of, hey, I'm going to take two junk heroes, get rid of them, and hopefully I get something great. And the other is, I'm going to take some very high level or high rarity heroes, have more control over the outcome, because I'm also going to throw a greater stone on it. And if it does happen, then I do get what I want, I can use greater crystals. So now you're controlling. So it's all for the bottom and the top, and the middle is summoning, just regular summoning. So like, okay, all the commons I don't want anymore. Maybe I'll get lucky. I get a little bit better boost on rarity, so I'll go that route. Plus, I get rid of heroes I didn't want anyways. And then on the other side, you're going like, okay, I'm going to take these two mythics, and hopefully their mutation hits. I'm going to put a greater stone on it, and if it hits, it's going to be an awesome hero. Yes, there's risk. I'm losing two really good heroes, or what I think are pretty good heroes, to make maybe the top hero of its group. So it serves two different purposes at the same time, and I think both are very viable. And I've done more the hope I get lucky side versus the other end. But once I get a hold of some greater stones, I'll probably be doing that side too.
And I get that, but let me play devil's advocate yet again. I mean, aren't we all playing Dark Summoning? We love it, but aren't we all playing Keeping Up with the Joneses? And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, yeah, keeping up with the Moshes, right? Yeah, and furthermore to that point, Dark Summon, yes, but you're at, we're capped at level 20. Is your Dark Summon hero, 10 more level ups, level 30? Is it going to be just as good? Level 40, is it just going to be just as good? I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I mean, really, aren't you only?
No, but you have a better shot. You have a better shot. I mean, that's all you can do. Fair. I mean, you're setting yourself up for a better shot, which is also goes back to Mosh's thing. He wants to set himself up for a better hero in the end, so he's waiting for more information now. So to do the top end, you're giving yourself a better shot. Okay, if everything hits the way I expect it to, I set up the percentages, then I could get something really great. Could it still suck? Sure. Yeah. It could. Even if you do hit, it could still suck. But you up your percentage, you up your chance, and that's all you really can do.
To Jeremy's point, and you're so right, Sir Worm, you're absolutely right. You're improving your chances at having that awesome hero. Jeremy's point here, Dark Summoning.
I'm just trying to improve my chance to get into the top 100 for 2024. That's all I'm trying to do.
And I respect that. And I guess what I'm coming at it from is
I'm talking about your top 100, not the top 100 heroes. I'm talking about this. I want to be on the stream next year for the top 100.
That warms my heart up, Sir Worm. I appreciate it. That was an awesome stream, an awesome episode or series of episodes. I'm looking forward to doing a top 100 at the end of the year. I think it was like top 60 something or 40 something when it was all said and done.
I lowered the bar so I have a better chance to get in. So I knew that you did. Increasing my odds, just like Dark Summoning.
Hey, you're increasing your odds both ways. I appreciate it. Koopa, any final thoughts on that?
Nope. I basically already set my keep with this stuff, so I'm good.
Sweet, fair. I feel like Mosh's name should be changed to Leroy Jenkins. And we should probably rename this episode. Something about Mosh. We love you, Mosh. What can I say? You are our spirit pet, or not pet master. I don't know. You're our go-to. When I think of Mythic Squad, I think of Mosh. What can I? And so does Sir Worm. Look at that sexy shirt.
You already know.
Well, we know Mosh might be the only person doing things right.
Mosh may be a genius all along, and here I am trying to give him a hard time. I give him a hard time because I love him, and because I just need some counter arguments to make things interesting. I'm trying to make my own top 100. Any final thoughts from anyone on anything before we go? Zealous, your hands up. Let's hear it.
So I was thinking, that the team has told us throughout many AMAs that they were trying to get Clayton to provide more funding, to share in the gas fees, to help with development efforts and marketing efforts, and all these things. And we didn't see much, right? And this that's happening now, I think, is an extremely great opportunity for the DFK team to go back to the negotiating table and to say, well, if you want us to stay with you, considering we have to do the same amount of work, potentially, what are you going to give us? What are you going to give DFK?
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. My understanding, and I think this is public knowledge, the Clayton team changed at its core as far as some of the leadership behind the curtain that was very much in favor of DFK, and not that the group in power now isn't fond of DFK, but I think it's not the same level of fondness, and it may it may take some time, but you're absolutely right, Zealous. Hey, we need to come at this from a position of strength, and if we're needing to migrate, why should we migrate with Clayton, right? There may be a third or another option that maybe better, maybe offers more, and maybe feels more like home.
Let's hear those offers. So basically, what they've done, the way I see it, is released us from our promise, from our commitment, right? Because they're essentially reneging on the deal, and it leaves us free to find whatever is the best for us. And it could be them, right? They might make an offer that we can't refuse. They should, considering that we're probably one of their biggest gas providers. If they don't, not a problem. So I just want to say I'm super bullish about this situation because I was wanting a change with Serendale, and this is it.
A perfect opportunity. And JQ, I'm glad you're loving the show. It is not because of it's because of our esteemed guest here. They've made the show super awesome. Free DFK chain. Thank you very much for the 69 bloater donation. Very much appreciated. Any parting words from anyone else before we call it? Well, that's not what I want. That's what I want.
I'm on board with Zealous with this stuff personally. Like everything that he has said, I'm like 100% down for. He's just better at wording it than I would be. But yeah, kudos to you, Zealous. You are a superstar when it comes to like explaining this stuff.
Thank you.
And kudos to our panel of developers, third-party developers, Mellow Green Giant, Raph, Zealous. Let me give you an opportunity, Mellow Green Giant, to maybe say a couple words before we part.
Yeah, I've got just three things. I'll try to make it quick. So first, we are ramping up to a big economy change with BYOP. And if you haven't noticed, Swift Thistle is starting a new run. So keep your eye on that. It's getting out of control a little bit. Number two, if you didn't notice or missed or haven't thought about the great impact that the changes to the Gardens withdrawal fees have had and how that impacts how you can play in the Gardens, you might want to check into that. And then lastly, something just related to change catalysts. There's always like events coming up where people think, there'll be some outcome of the event, maybe in terms of price action or some other sentiment. Something that we often, I think, forget is that there's two reactions. One reaction is a short-term reaction right after the event, and you can expect that to be based on just people trading. But I think what people always think about as the event and what they expect from it is actually a long-term event. So when the event happens and you don't see the thing that you expected, it's probably because it's going to play out over a long period of time. So I think people get disappointed because they don't keep that in mind.
This one's for Maddie because Maddie says he wants more of these. That was hot stuff, Mellow Green. Thank you very much. Very, very hot takes. Raph, let me give you one of these.
Your soundboard's broke. What's going on?
It's broken. Oh boy, that's no bueno. Raph, any parting words here for the group?
Man, I just love being with this panel tonight, and the amazing guests out there on live chat. Like live chat has been hopping tonight. So, I don't have anything to add to the current conversation, so I want to drum up some controversy for the next conversation.
Oh, let's hear it.
My new thesis is that I feel like if you compare basic class heroes to advanced or transcendent class heroes right now, there is a significant difference in price valuation of those heroes. I believe that when the game comes out, PvP, PvE balancing, I feel that there is going to be a far less of a difference of value between basic classes and the transcendent classes. I'll leave it at that.
That is a hot
The floor
take.
will rise.
I love that take, and I think it harkens back to a statement the team said time and time again, which is every hero is gonna have its place, whether you like it or not, and time will sort of narrow the gap there as far as pricing. That's a hot take, Raph. Sir Worm, any parting words for the group?
My only parting words are, sorry everyone. I'm gonna be champion of this tournament coming.
Oh,
Damn.
done. Let me find something here. Find something here. Let me see. That was hot.
I love it.
Kupo, send us home.
No, tonight's been a great chat with everything that we've discussed tonight. We've touched topics based on Dark Summoning. We've talked about the situation with Clayton and everything in between. So this has just been a wonderful show tonight. And we appreciate everybody that showed up tonight, everybody that's on the panel, everybody that's in the chat room. We love you all. We're all here to win this thing. We want our project to succeed. So let's just keep being bullish and just make it so that we can move forward as a group.
Bullish.
Bullish.
Sir Worm, I found what I was looking for. I was looking for one of these and one of these.
Still not
There you
working.
go.
I really wish it was working.
Oh my god! Oh, it's so fun. I heard it here and here, and with that,
It's even better that it's not working.
Just use your imagination.
Can I add
start
something?
over. We're gonna start over.
Mind if I add something, Sarge?
Yeah, wrap us up. Let's go. Let's hear it.
So you
baby.
remember my convo about the Moksha Rune raffles?
Yeah.
So in the past week, I've gotten over a dozen Moksha runes with the auto raffling.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't happen because I only used a couple hundred tickets. And the reason it's happening is because people are not using their AI's auto raffle feature. So for anyone that hasn't used the auto raffle feature in a long time, it currently has new features. The raffle avoidance, which lets you put in any item that you don't want to ever raffle. You can put a gray pet egg and we'll never raffle. And there's also the raffle target option. So you can put Moksha Rune, Stamina Vial, greater Might Crystal Stone, and that is what it will go after and multiply the tickets for your targets. So guys, really use it because I'm winning all the Moksha Runes right here.
And I wish there was a place to get raffle tickets in today's economy with tools being there is Raph's Adventures Arcade. And I think I figured it out. Let me see if it works.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Love it.
There you go. I think we figured out. Anyhow, with that said, it's been great. We'll catch you next week. As always, Sarge here for Mellow Green Giant and Rapture, Worm Koopa, Zalis, and myself. We'll catch you next week. Peace.
Bye, guys.